Oh, hello. It's been a little bit, huh? Uh, just got through this Mercury retrograde. I kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, a little bit heavy for me. I just broke through shadow and has entered into Aries, where he's a little bit happier, a little bit more positive, a little bit more clear-headed. Um, yeah, that's over with. I'm just gonna randomly talk about stuff going on right now. I guess starting with this full moon happening tonight. Um, it's pretty interesting because the conjunction with the Sun and Uranus opposing this full moon in Libra, and this has been a crazy lunation with this Aries new moon that started right at the 0 mark, and then we had the um, first full moon in Libra at 0 degrees of Libra, and then we had another full moon. So we had two Libra um, full moons in a row. And it's interesting that it's at the beginning and the end. And at the end here, this is illuminating the area of Libra where last year Venus retrograded from Scorpio into Libra last October, September, October, November area around there somewhere. And uh, right on cue, I was talking about, let's get some colors going. Let's get some stuff going. Uh, in my last video, I talked about this little sensitive area, and you can go back and watch, and I drew an X right here. And, you know, I don't know, the Notre Dame thing. That was one of the things that I keep repeating myself about this Uranus and Taurus is this it rules radicalism. You know, Uranus is all about that. And then when you bring the conjunction of the sun in with, you know, the ego, and you have the square between Jupiter and Sagittarius and with Neptune and Pisces, when you're dealing with a square, a tension in spiritual warfare, it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing stuff like Notre Dame happen, Notre Dame, however you want to say it. Uh, but anyway, uh, talk about a little about the astrology that's going on right now. And first off, I'm going to start at the top of the chart. I've realized watching my videos that I leave out so many aspects. There's just so much going on right now in the stars, but it's hard to talk about it all in a short amount of time without making a 2-hour video. But start at the top of the chart here. I believe it was August 10th. We had Jupiter go retrograde, and he was just starting to pull off of the square with Neptune in Pisces, but now he's going to retrograde, and that's going to let's read this. It's going to retrograde right back into it again. So once again, we've got that flare up of spiritual warfare and political warfare and media truth and lies and all that stuff that we've been talking about in the past videos as he retrogrades. And Jupiter here, it's when a planet goes retrograde, the way I always describe it is it goes, the energies kind of go inward. So, that outward perspective that, especially in Sagittarius, is going to need to go inward, where we change our inner perspective for things. And that really relates with this Aries Libra moon. And what I was talking about in my last video about how our, how we act and things we say and things we do manifest the relationships that we attract in our lives. And, so, but anyway, back to Jupiter. He's going to retrograde back into that square with Neptune. And so we'll see, that's going to be for quite some time. And we're going to see more media flare up, more spiritual warfare, more, uh, all that kind of stuff. Then we have, but we still have the, and when Neptune goes retrograde and Saturn goes retrograde, actually Saturn's going to go retrograde at the end of the month, he'll double tap with that sextile supporting this. And the North Node is going to trine this, further strengthening this water earth elemental thing. And you've got elementally, you've got the sun going to move into right around here a sextile with Neptune. And let me get all the blues out the way that I can see. This full moon will move, has moved through a sextile with Jupiter. Then we've had, square the North Node. We've had, let's get some of these other aspects and then we'll start talking about them. We've had, and we're going to continue to have for a minute, Jupiter opposing Mars. We're still continuing to have this conjunction here. This conjunction is what we're going to talk about next. We went through a bit of a bit of Sagittarius, but we're going to talk about this conjunction. It's happening now. It's happening. This is the most powerful configuration of the moment, with its Piscean sextile and Uranus and the Sun moving into more harmonious aspects with it as well. But you've got, let me find the squares here. God, there's so much going on. Anyway, let's just break down what's going on right here. So we talked a bit about Jupiter and Sagittarius and inner perspective and spiritual warfare and foreign matters and anything of that nature. New perspectives, targets, truth. It also rules truths. And also I find it interesting, I think I wrote over here, justice. And I think that the double scales, full moons, and, I'm not going to go in my opinions, but, if you've not noticed that one of the things in the spotlight of media is, Trump and his not guilty verdict, justice. I would say with this conjunction here, there's probably going to be retribution. anytime that you, and it's going to take place over the next couple of years. And also with Uranus and the Sun conjoining in Taurus, you know, I think that this is a sign of justice being set in motion somewhere. Some people are going to get their due. I don't think you're going to escape this powerful um, eliminating, reconstructing, uh, deconstructing energies of Saturn and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn right now. This is just too intense. Um, Up here in this realm, we're talking about the conjunction on the south node of Pluto and Saturn. These are heavy times right now. You may feel pressure, uh, you know, and it being in the house of Capricorn, Capricorn deals with your career and your ambitions and your goals and, you know, your reputation in the world, you know. So you may be under a lot of pressure right now. You may be experiencing a lot of reformations, um, a lot of rewrites and uh, laws and at work and stuff. I don't know. I think this is the time of year when people start rewriting their little safety rules and stuff. There just may be lots of information and lots of reformation and just a lot of pressure, and it's really heavy. As with Libra, Capricorn rules justice and punishment. Uh, you know, so that's why I was making the call, you know, with this Mueller investigation and all this collusion stuff. Uh, the pressure was on, it's still on, but I think there's going to be retribution. Uh, uh, Capricorn is the judge. So, I don't know. I think that's what it's going to be. It's also about discipline. This energy may be working for, you know, trying to learn, like we've been talking in many videos before about the changing the paradigms and the structures in your life. For me personally, my entire lifestyle has changed around work. I've moved to a day shift job now, and you know, my rhythms are really off, you know, and it's taken a minute to adjust to the day lifestyle and everything. So I've had to a lot of um, discipline, you know, getting up in early and, you know, reforming my habits and you know, uh, that kind of stuff. And I also got status quo here too. You know, this might be a time of, like I said, with that pressure, a lot of people hounding and pressuring, you know, in the areas of job, economy, and all that fun stuff. So, and that's not going away anytime soon. And actually, as we move closer to the summer, and the sun moves toward the south node, some more of this stuff's going to be rehashed or looked at in a different way. It's going to be looked at as opposed in a calculated, more uh, grindy thing, and as opposed to feeling good, you know. Uh, so, but anyway, so we've got uh, Mercury. Let's okay. So we talked about that a little bit, and then you know we talked about in previous videos. We just had the Mercury retrograde go back in conjunct with Neptune, and uh, double tapped it and then had to pull back out. But as it was pulling out, Venus was coming into the picture, and Venus got into that mix. And I got wrecked in this Mercury retrograde. Like, and a lot of it was my lifestyle change, you know, and just not being used to stuff and all that stuff like that, you know. So I was tired and, and drinking too much coffee, so I was wired and tired and, all that fun stuff. So I didn't know which way was up and which way was down. And it's been about a month, and now I think now that he's cleared out of there, I've noticed my energy levels. I'm a little bit more in tune with these new patterns that I'm initiating in my life. So normally Mercury would be pretty happy about moving into Aries, being a yang sign, a positive sign, a complementary sign, a go-getter sign, a fast sign. Mercury likes fast. Uh, uh, and I'm supposed to have it like this. Well, since we're here anyway. Uh, and since he, likes all that stuff, usually this is a great placement for Mercury. But like everybody that's went through this gauntlet that I've been talking about through the past month, Mercury's going to have to square these guys. So, anything that's been going through uh, Aries has not been really having a fun time. Mars made it to Aries and his own sign, which only happens every couple of years, and he had to square all these guys. And and what that means is like Aries is typically like a lot of people, and one of the people I listen to always talk about a race car in red, and it's a race car. He wants to go, he wants action, he wants to be first place, he wants to get a jump on everything. That's the spirit of Aries. But you've got Pluto and Capricorn in the South Node, and they are not about that at all. They're saying, no, you can't. They're the uh, naggy parental figure. It's the stop sign. It's uh, the wall kind of thing. Mars wasn't real happy moving through there because he didn't really have the freedom and independence that the fire signs thrive on and air signs. The versatility that Mercury normally would gain here in Aries is a little bit hindered. So, but anyway, it's still a little bit better. It's a little bit of a breather, and he's not been happy for a long time. The Mercury energy has had a rough go about ever since he was in Sagittarius, and that was quite some time ago. So, but anyway, it's still a bit of a reprieve as he moves through until he gets through about around the half point of Aries. Then there could be a little bit of uh, friction, a little bit of slowing down, a little bit of maybe blocks that you're not really looking forward to. We'll just put it that way. Uh, so then, we've got Venus, and she is right here at the edge of Pisces in her exaltation. That's about to end for her. And the fog, the party is about to end for her, and the reality is about to kick in. But the thing is she's getting ready to move into Aries, which is in her, it's an opposite, it's a detriment sign. It's still, opposites attract. There's something about oppositions that the two sides of the same coin. They really, even though they're one end of the spectrum, both one end of the spectrum, they complement each other because one lacks what the other one don't. So she is, I mean, not too bad in Aries, I don't think. I think the masculine side of it, the over masculine hypermasculinism of Aries, which is one of the most masculine signs of the zodiac, if not the most masculine sign. Um, that part may be a bit annoying for her, but also it is her, and she's attracted to the male, so um, that whole thing, the sexual tension and chemistry that comes along with that. So, and moving further down, tomorrow we move into Taurus. And I think personally, well, for me being a Pisces and, having a Taurus progression right now, I've got a strong uh, Taurus signature in my chart. I personally think us Earth and heavy Earth and water signs are going to enjoy these when the sun's in these Earth and water months because of the support that we're going to have from Capricorn and Pisces and the North Node, all of the full moons, or the moons, and uh, we got Venus getting ready to come into Taurus here in a little while, and Mercury, and I just think all that's going to be fantastic. But for the people that have heavy Yang energy in their charts, like I've been talking to several of my friends, they're just drained. A lot of air signs and fire signs are just drained right now, and that's uh, because the elements just kind of are in favor of earth and water right now. So you guys are going to have like short little bouts, like when the sun hits, air, fire, air, fire, fire, and then the moon hits, air, fire, fire. And the other personal planets, the short term, they only spend a matter of weeks in these signs. You'll have these little reprieves. Otherwise, this is going to continue to be a heavy time. Um, and the most powerful benefit planet that we have has been under this horrible stress with Pisces with this, and it's going to continue. So that just kind of got squandered. So it's just going to be really heavy on air signs and fire signs. Just know that this is going to be a trudgy couple of years, and what that is the buildup of this here, the conjunction, and then the breakup of it. It's a process. This conjunction here with the south node here, all this stuff's coming together, and it takes until next year for it to fully happen, and then the rest of the year for it to fully break apart. So you're looking at a good 2 years of this heavy, you know, um, Saturn Pluto South Node thing, and and then you've got another 7 years here with Neptune here with you know, with Neptune here in Pisces. We got another 7 years of this craziness. Blah, blah, blah. The I think it's going to be a lot of the dissolving of the mainstream media and the entertainment business as we know it and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff is going to change out with the old kind of purging thing. Uh, but yeah, the emphasis on this last lunation has been on relationship, well, on Libra and Aries. And we could go over some of the positives and negatives of this sign, of these two, of what this means, these double Libra full moons. Uh, but Aries is self. It is the first sign of the zodiac. It is conscious, like your consciousness. Like when you first wake up as a crying child, you're just conscious. It's formless, kind of, you're just aware. And that is what Aries is. It's more like your personality, your attitude, your persona, your who you are, like truly. And it is it's fire, and it's me. I. It's also initiation. It's the starting point. It's the um, ground zero. It's explosive. It's spontaneous. It's self-centered. It's the lone wolf energy. Um, and it all deals with you. It has nothing to do with anybody outside of yourself. It is, I think, what the Greeks call the thetan, the zero. And where Libra is about us, it's about partnerships, relationships, and where Aries is the god of war. Venus is the ruler of Libra, and Libra is about diplomacy and peace and harmony and balance and collaboration and relationships and marriages and you know it's also about justice, the scales of justice. So, uh, so for some people, it may be legal stuff. For other people, like me, who's got wrecked, I got a lot of natal stuff over here. This has been a natal shadow work from hell thing, where I'm noticing parts of my ego that manifest in out through my relationships. Uh, there may be people that are um, it has to do a lot with work, like your relation, and that's also with me because Capricorn here, square in these moons, there may be a reconfiguration, a reformation of work relationships and how you compose yourself in these relationships at work, you know. So or anything that kind of relationship outside of yourself. That also could be love relationships. Um, uh, it could also be, also dealing with balance and harmony. You could be fighting with people right now. These guys opposing each other, oppositions when they oppose each other. There's a contrasting element. So there's a friction, but the friction is where life comes from, positive and negative. You can't have a energy without one or the other, positive or negative. So even though they may be unpleasant, sometimes these are necessary jolts in relationships, or uh, also Libra ruling mind and intellect. It's not, they don't actually rule it, but it is very much about when you come with uh, diplomacy. When it comes to diplomacy and being a diplomat, you got to be smart. You got to be mentally dexterous. Um, so that's why Libras are so charming, and they use whatever tools they have to their advantage to charm, and they're very manipulative. They can be very manipulative. They use a more persuasive element as opposed to Aries, more brutal, kind of in your face, kind of just forces you to do it. Um, so there could be this um, imbalance in relationships right now somewhere, and that could be any relationship. That could be anything, depending on where this stuff's going on in your chart and stuff. But um, so anyway, we've had right on cue. I was talking about that little area of Aries where it kind of triggered uh, the nodes. The Notre Dame thing happened, and we were talking about that. So the sun movement past here, just expect a little bit more. So we've still got a crossover Taurus, and then it's got a couple degrees, and it actually conjuncts, and then it's got a few more degrees. I would give it 3 or 4 degrees before it breaks off. That conjunction before we get away from this crazy expressing oneself radically through war-ish and you know, uh, skewered perspectives of, spiritual warfare, kind of stuff. That's not how you communicate. That's how I guess some people feel they need to communicate their disdain is burn down churches. Okay, so maybe that's what this alignment means. Burn down churches, or whatever. So, like I put here, radicalism. And it is these radical thoughts, um, so this is the first taste of some of the next 7 years. This is the first conjunction that the sun has had with Uranus in Taurus since it's moved in Taurus, or it's been in Taurus since the 30s. So this is the first illumination of this. And Taurus being I consider the ruler of our bodies, our physical bodies. Some people may be noticing, with the sun coming in here, taking another look at, uh, their health and, stuff like that, getting a little bit more simplistic approach to health. Um, I think that, health has become so complicated. You almost have to have a PhD and, or be a registered dietitian just to be healthy anymore. And I don't think it's meant to be that hard. And I think with the next 7 years, and I think that we've been on the edge of new information, and the diet industry, as it started in, I think, when uh, Uranus was in Aries with the keto and primal movement. It's really kicking in now with Uranus moving into Taurus. And the thing about the primal diet and the keto diet is it's very simple and it's very primal. So, and it's very down to earth, and that's the way Taurus likes it. Taurus likes things predictable, um, reliable, simple, something that feels good and gets quality results. Because if it don't have results and it's not quality, Taurus don't want it. Okay, so now we've got Mars and Gemini, and I think this is the first little kickstarts of the spring weather. I think that uh, it's making us want to be a little bit more social, get out and do more things. Uh, you know, uh, just have a desire to, communicate and express ourselves and get into some intellectual conversation or some video gaming or take a cruise and you know people may be just dying to get on their motorcycles right now, or not right today. Today actually sucked, but a few days ago it was pretty warm. Get on your motorcycles and feel the wind in your hair, just kind of soak up some of that sun. Gemini need some of that positive, just clear, open, and now just uh, the opening up of Gemini. It's been Gemini, this whole side of the charts is really getting stale. So, but we've got the uh, Sun and the personal planets moving into, as it moves through spring and into the summer, kind of dusting off these signs. So a lot of signs right now just feel like bored and tired, and you know, just a lot of trudgy heaviness, and that's one thing Gemini does not like. So, that this is another sign that's going to struggle um, this next couple years. Maybe it's just too heavy, too serious. all the time. You know, the Gemini Sagittarius bracket's probably the most lighthearted and most open-minded signs, and the most humorous, as well as Libra and Aries. You know, they're funny, and you know they like to talk, and they're lively, and you know it's really interesting. And now they've got a little bit of juice behind them going right now with Mars moved here, but at about right now he's about halfway through the sign already. So you know you want to soak up that motivation now while it's happening, because it's going to be a little bit before you know the sun's coming, and Mercury's coming and Venus is coming, but you know it's going to be scattered. Um, you know, Cancer's the hiding and waiting. Your time is not yet. It's coming up though. This summer, it's you. It's going to be all you guys. Um, so more to come for Cancer. Uh, you know, Leo hasn't got anything going on. Mars will eventually, you know, get that way with the sun and everything. But you know, the North Node's past that now, so. Uh, and then we're going to see things kick up from last year around the middle of summer. We're going to start seeing some fruitions and some of the uh, from last year's effects of the North Node being in Leo. But yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit tired. Work today. But I wanted to go through a little bit of the rest of this month. We finally got some planets getting ready to go retrograde. You know, some stuff starting to slow down a little bit. Areas of life, the pressure may start lifting a little bit, especially when we get closer to the end of the month. Uh, when Saturn goes retrograde. Uh, but yeah, uh, things are starting to move out, and we're starting to break free of the gauntlet. And then we're going to have all this fun area to play with after the personal planets pass Uranus, and then get into that nice open area for the rest of the year. You know, we're still going to have oppositions and squares, but we're going to have a lot of great trines, a lot of complementary, a lot of harmonious earth and water energies, which means we're going to have a lot of like energy, manifesting power, and it's going to feel really good. So, and you know, the sparks this year are mostly going to be air and fire, and that's you know a lot of the communication bands and a lot of the relationship bands and the philosophical um, energies and spiritual energies are getting a lot of reformation and a lot of tension and rewrites and all that stuff. But anyway, so much, too little time. So I'm gonna get out of here. I love you guys as always. Join me on Psionic on YouTube. I could really use some more subscribers. And God bless.